There on the campaign trail, let Trump be Trump. But here in Washington, if you don't have these positions filled and members of Congress don't have a place to go, your administration will grind to a halt and you will give up those years of progress that you could potentially have.
It seems like the president here, and we hear this from our White House reporters speaking to sources who speak to the president, that the president is feeling kind of emboldened now, feeling that, you know, he's got control. He's getting the cabinet that he wants. He's always been a gut player. He's going to follow his gut now, and this is what his gut is telling him. Do you sense that from him on these decisions?
Yeah, I think that that's probably right, and I think you can't really blame him for that. I guess if he feels like this is what has made him successful, and he had a campaign obviously that was very scattershot and not very organized and didn't have clear lines of communication, and he became president. So you can see how he would sort of reach that conclusion. I think with Hope Hicks, she's much more than a communications director. And so this is going to be something I think he's going to definitely feel in a way that he hasn't felt with other people, is that she's somebody who just really knows how to manage him and was really running interference all the time. And so it's going to be hard for him, and it's going to be hard on the staff also, because I think they're not going to have this person around who knows how to manage him.
And we're hearing that from the staff, the post-Hope Hicks era is being viewed as this kind of huge unknown territory, right?
The post-Hope era, we're calling it now. You know, I think the organization makes less difference than having some voices around him who feel free to tell him when he's making a mistake or when they think he's going in the wrong direction. And the question is, with some of these other replacements around him for a national security advisor, for Secretary of State, is the president going to be in a situation where he's not hearing alternative voices when he's going to make a big decision?
Yes, and particularly when you need debates on issues like, I don't know, military action against North Korea, for instance. A White House official is telling CNN that the Ronnie Jackson's sort of secret to success was how he handled himself when he was talking about the president's health profile, briefing about his health back in January. Let's have a listen so we can be reminded of this.
He has a lot of energy, and a lot of stamina. It's called genetics. I don't know. It's some people have just great genes that the president's health is excellent because his overall health is excellent. He has incredible genes. I just assume. I think he will remain fit for duty for the remainder of this term and even for the remainder of another term if he's elected.
Amanda, is that how he got the job?
Maybe. Listen, he's smooth. He's good looking. I can see why Trump would want him to be the face of this particular agency. But if he wants to be taken seriously, he should go forward and give a speech about the serious things he hopes to do. How will you finally address the backlog at the VA? How do you plan to get veterans treatment for PTSD that they need? How will you make sure that veterans aren't denied benefits just to get them off the rolls and save taxpayers' money? These are big things that I think everyone is looking for answers on. They're brought up in the Obama administration, but these should be things that Trump fixes. And he better darn sure get someone in there who can. Right,
and that's the issue, because it has been, has it not, it's been an enormous bureaucratic issue, and a whole host of folks have tried to fix these problems with very real consequences. You know, veterans dying in their hospital beds. You need more to be the central casting candidate, which is another way we've heard the president has described Ronnie Jackson to solve those problems.
Right, so Trump people would say, but we've always had the bureaucrats. We've always had the people who know how to run big organizations, and that's why we voted for Trump. We wanted somebody different, and so I think it's this mentality that goes into it. And I would say maybe there's a middle ground, right? Maybe there's somebody that can come in that can shake things up, but actually has some administrative experience, and this idea of choosing people from central casting. I mean, this is how also he chose, let's remember, I mean, as much as he's sort of saying these other people were forced on him, a lot of these other people that he chose for the first round were people that he thought were out of central casting or fit sort of his idea, the generals and those kinds of things. So, you know, is his gut really that reliable?
Yeah,
I guess is the question.
Fair question. Well, it's interesting. David Shulkin, who Ronnie Jackson is replacing, he didn't go out quietly. He had quite a strongly worded op-ed in the New York Times. He wrote, and this is a portion of it in there, "I have fought to stand up for this great department and all that it embodies. In recent months, though, the environment in Washington has turned toxic, so toxic, chaotic, disrespectful, and subversive that it became impossible for me to accomplish the important work that our veterans need and deserve. As I prepare to leave government, I am struck by a recurring thought: it should not be this hard to serve your country." Now we should note, Susan, he did not mention Trump in this. Was he taking a shot at the administration, or was it more at the just sort of general dysfunction of Washington?
Well, he did talk about a toxic atmosphere. That's something that started before Donald Trump was on the scene. He also talked about proposals to privatize some of the medical services in the Veterans Administration. And one question is, why was he fired? Was the debate over privatization one of the reasons he was fired? Because if so, that would be a stark change in policy for this agency that serves 9 million vets.
But on that point, one of the reasons that he ran into controversy is because he falsified documents to stick taxpayers with a bill for a trip to Wimbledon and a European cruise. Somehow that was left out of his New York Times op-ed, and he wants to make himself a martyr because supposedly he opposes privatization. There may be a push for privatization, maybe to give veterans vouchers that they can use with the doctors of their choice. Maybe that's happening, but let's not ignore the ethics violations that he had. And I think Trump should have terminated him for that in a very public way, and also send a signal to the other members of his cabinet that had that problem.
And this has been, it's been, I don't know to say epidemic, but it's certainly not an isolated case. Amanda Kirsten, Susan, thanks very much. A new chapter coming in the Stormy Daniels versus Donald Trump saga. Did both sides just damage their own cases?